Hello, everybody, and welcome to WrestleScope TV. My name is John. This is a WrestleScope Special. Thank you very much for tuning in. Tonight, we are going to be talking about what the real problem within AEW is. Before we get going here, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you can be updated every time a new broadcast is going to be on. So we all know now, it's been a week since we have seen the issues that have gone on with AEW at the media scrum, post All Out between CM Punk and the Young Bucks. And we're not going to get into this. I'm not going to get into the breakdown of it, of everything that happened, because if you know about it, you've heard about it. We've seen every side of the story. But I want to talk a little bit more in depth about issues going on within AEW. As we all know, Tony Khan, he is the owner, leader, president, head poobah of All Elite Wrestling. And he has his three EVPs, Kenny Omega, Matt Jackson, and Nick Jackson. He had a fourth EVP, Cody Rhodes, who left the company back in February of 2022 and is now with WWE. He debuted for them 2 months after leaving All Elite Wrestling. And this was just mere months after CM Punk made his return to wrestling after 7 years away at All Out in Chicago in 2021. Now the obvious question is, did CM Punk have kind of an impact on Cody Rhodes leaving? Well, Dave Meltzer wrote a story not that long ago, basically putting this to rest. And here's just a tiny little bit of that story. Quoting Dave Meltzer, I don't think so. There's a reason. Both Tony and Cody basically made an agreement they would never tell. They were going to part as friends and all that. I mean, like with Cody, look, when I asked him, there's a reason. He gave his word. He was not going to say why. I'm sure there's a lot of small things, and Punk might be one of the small ones. I really don't know. I never heard anything in that direction. If that was it, I do believe we would have heard. That is Dave Meltzer, again, addressing the situation with Cody Rhodes' AEW exit and if CM Punk had anything to do with it. So let's put that to bed right now. The timing is convenient. The timing is kind of odd with the situation. But I don't believe that has anything to do with it. Let me get this out of the way right now. I believe all the parties involved in what happened last weekend at All Out after the media scrum, CM Punk never should have said the things that he said about Kenny Omega, the Bucks, Colt Cabana, Hangman Adam Page, any of that stuff. None of it should have happened. As leaders, executives in the company, Kenny and the Young Bucks should not have reacted in the way that they did. Yes, they justifiably should have been pissed off about it, but there's a different way to handle it. And Tony Khan, he shouldn't have just sat there. He should have done something while CM Punk was going off the way he was. Yes, it was live in front of the media. Yes, it was a difficult situation, but he should have done something. So at the end of the day here, in my opinion, what do I think is the real problem within AEW? Well, let's take a step backwards here. Now, one of the reports that came out this week was there was a all talent, all hands on deck mandatory meeting again prior to Dynamite this week in Buffalo. And three of the men that stepped up in this meeting were Jon Moxley, Chris Jericho, and Bryan Danielson. What do those three men all have in common? Yes, they are longtime veterans of the industry. Yes, they have been up and down the roads, held many different championships. But all three of them worked their way up and were world champions under Vince McMahon. And I'm going to throw a fourth name in there. And it's a guy that we've already mentioned here. Somebody that is former AEW, was former WWE, and is now current WWE, and is a former EVP, Cody Rhodes. He is another person, even though he was never a world champion in WWE. He came up through the ranks and did win championships under Vince McMahon. So why do I bring these four men up? Because they are men that veterans in the industry, but they also worked for a man who was the end-all be-all when it came to decisions within his wrestling company. Not just creatively, but if there were problems going on, he handled it. Yes, he had people underneath him in the likes of Pat Patterson and Kevin Dunn and John Laurinaitis and Bruce Pritchard and Triple H and many others. But at the end of the day, it came down to Vince McMahon. It was his way or the highway. The problem within AEW is, yes, you do have Tony Khan, who is, the final decision maker with many things. But the problem is the elite. And I say this because they are not only executives within the company, but they are also performers. They are also multiple-time champions. What situation does this remind you of? Me personally, this reminds me a lot of mid to late 1990s to early 2000 WCW, when you had the rats running the ship, the inmates running the asylum. The downfall to WCW, along with obviously monetary issues and AOL Time Warner not wanting to be doing anything within wrestling. But prior to that, the problem was when you've got talent that are also booking things, talent that are in control. That's where the problem is right now. When you have performers that are in management positions, it never works out well. Let's take a look at it from the perspective of, Tom Brady, Hall of Fame quarterback, 7 Super Bowls. What if he was the general manager and coach of the New England Patriots when he was there, or with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? LeBron James, if he was the general manager and coach of whatever team he's with. Albert Pujols, Mike Trout, throw in any star of today in Major League Baseball. If they're the manager and general manager, the head coach, it doesn't work out well, because whose interests are they looking out for? The organization, the team, or themselves and their friends? And I'm not saying that Kenny Omega, Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson are in business for themselves or are only worried about their circle of friends, but maybe they are. We don't know this. But if you take a look at it, Cody Rhodes obviously saw something was going on. We heard the stories about a year ago that started coming out that, there's problems within the EVPs. Cody Rhodes is not getting along with the elite. What's happening here? Are there issues within the All Elite family? We heard multiple different stories about this, but never got confirmation on it. I think Cody Rhodes saw something was going on and saw his opportunity to get out back in February. It may have actually even been early. There were talks that, he had been talking with Tony Khan for months about this, going back to fall of 2021. that maybe, just maybe, he saw the writing on the wall. He saw that things were not looking good. And for his mental well-being, for his family well-being, he needed to get out. And an opportunity for him to go back to WWE was there. And maybe CM Punk coming in had something to indirectly do with that. We don't know. I still think, even if CM Punk had not appeared in All Elite Wrestling, that Cody Rhodes probably still would have left. That may have been the straw that broke the camel's back. We'll never know. Maybe in 5 to 10 years, we might know. Somebody may come out and say something. I don't know. But I think that's where the problem is. How does it get fixed? Well, I'll tell you, Tony Khan, he actually has done a good job since everything broke down. With everything they did on Dynamite this week, it was a good first step. The tournament for the AEW Championship. Crowning new trios champions. Not dwelling too much on what happened. Giving people enough information, but if you really want to know, the information is out there on the internet. Having MJF come out. The Moxley promo was perfect. Absolutely perfect. And highlighting younger talent like Daniel Garcia and Wheeler Yuta in the main event. But it's just a first step. We'll see in this next 6 to 9, 12 months for AEW. This is the key moments for them. Are they going to be able to overcome the adversity, overcome the issues that they have had within the company, and be able to take the next steps to be that significant challenger to WWE? Or are they going to fall victim to many of the things that have left Impact Wrestling as, in that lower tier? And this is no knock on Impact Wrestling or anybody there, but they could have had that opportunity to be right up there where AEW is now. But some bad decisions were made. Decisions that involved talent having too much power and talent booking things too much. We're seeing a pattern here. So is AEW going to step up and continue the battle with WWE and continue to chip away and work their way up? Or are they going to fall down and fall into the category, again, of an Impact Wrestling? We shall see. What Tony Khan needs to do, and it sounds like he's beginning to do it already, he's got to trust some of the veterans, some of the guys that have been in multiple companies, that have been in the industry for decades and have seen many different things. Tony Schiavone, Jim Ross, William Regal. You are not going to find 3 smarter guys in the business that have literally seen it all than those 3. Trust these gentlemen. Let them be your right-hand men to help you. No offense to Kenny and the Young Bucks, but you cannot have in-ring talent being in management positions. It does not work well. Now, before anybody jumps on me and says, well, what about Triple H? Yeah, there were problems when Triple H was first named Chief Operating Officer because he was still an in-ring competitor. But he was looking out for what was in the best interest of Vince McMahon, of his wife Stephanie, and of the business. I don't believe Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks are at that point. This is a little bit different because that was family. This is not. So there's ways that could get fixed. There's ways the problem can be taken care of. There are ways for Positive One to step in and interrupt the broadcast. Hello, sir. How are you? Of course, we come back after over a month off, and the exalted leader of the Positive Nation has to make an appearance here. Okay. Are you going to bed, my sir? All right. Have a good night. Thank you. All right. Oh, any words of wisdom to the WrestleScope Nation? You got to get on camera. Okay. Have a good night. All right. To wrap this up again, this is just the opinion of John of WrestleScope. This is not me talking with anybody within AEW or anything else, because I don't have any contacts. I don't have any inside sources. This is just my opinion as a wrestling fan from over 40 years and just putting pieces together. If you agree or disagree with me, please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you in the comments, but please try to keep it unabrasive. Let's put it that way. Let's keep this a community that is positive. Keep it a community where we're not beating down other people. That's one of my goals with this channel is, to be welcome and opening to everyone's opinion, whether you agree with it or not. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion. And this piece here was my own opinion. Thank you very much again for tuning in to WrestleScope TV. I greatly appreciate it. As always, you folks are absolutely fantastic. Please remember to like this channel, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you can be updated every time we have new content that's on the channel. And also, go to the link tree, which is in the bio right here on YouTube, and you can see all of my different social media. I've been very active on Twitter lately, also Instagram and everywhere else. So please check that out. I thank you very much for tuning in. Greatly appreciate it. As I said, for all of you, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe. My name is John. This has been WrestleScope TV, a WrestleScope Special. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful evening.